session is child magic. While genres like comedy and sports draw much of the limelight, children's programming is less understood but immensely powerful driver of digital video views. On this note, I would now like to take the opportunity to invite on stage Mr. Akash Banerjee, Senior VP, Head of Marketing and Partnerships, Woot, and Mr. Vinod Chandar, Founder of CEO and Creative Director of Choo Choo TV. This session would now be moderated once again by Ms. Vinita Kohli Khandekar.
Hello.
You have a mic? Okay. You first saw how you should become a YouTube star. Now you will see the guys who are making the money and who are the platforms and the content creators who make these stars or help these stars to be created. So I have with me Choo Choo TV, which is like the third largest, as Raghav said, the third largest YouTube channel out of India. Huge, huge traction in a space. How many of you have kids? Which is my first yes-no question. How many of you have kids and watch a lot of kids' content? I will really have to explain the basics to you because very small proportion of this audience. Okay? But if like me you have a kid and have to watch hours of it, you'd know Choo Choo TV is huge in the kids space. Its largest audience is outside of India. Second largest market is India, right? And Woot is part of the Viacom 18 space, which is again part of the whole Reliance Network 18 group. And they are the OTT platform for Viacom 18. And one of their big strengths has been kids content because Viacom 18 itself is a large player with Sonic, Pogo, Nick in the whole kids space.
Nickelodeon. Yeah.
Nickelodeon. Well, Nina keeps saying Nick, so I started using Nick. So I'm going to ask both of you to give us a sense of where you come from, what your platform, you're the content guy, you're the platform guy, where you come from, and then we'll get into a Q&A.
Good afternoon, everybody. So as Vanita mentioned, Woot is the first digital VOD product from the house of Viacom 18. We launched, and it's an AVOD product. Essentially, that means it's an advertising-led product. We launched Woot in the month of May, and since it's been, close to 7-8 odd months, our proposition, our product proposition, our content proposition when we launched Woot was 3 differentiated kinds of content. A, TV shows spread across different genres like drama, reality, comedy, etc. That too spread across different languages. The second big cluster was Woot Originals, where we were creating our own content. And the third big piece was Woot Kids. Under Woot Kids, what we did was, at one level, we put our entire Nick franchise content out there on our platform. And at the other end, we also went ahead and aggregated content from the other top content players in the country. So what you saw was Motu Patlu from Nick, sitting right next to Chota Bheem from Pogo, sitting right next to Ben 10 from Cartoon Network, sitting right next to Pokemon from Hangama. And essentially what we managed to do was create a destination that had an aggregation, a motley of the top 80, 90 odd characters being watched by the kids in this country. It's a platform that is currently only available in India. Of course, there are plans to end up doing an international expansion in the months and weeks to follow. And in a span of 7 to 8 months, what we are seeing is, on the back of Woot, the mother platform, almost close to 20 million odd downloads. And most importantly, downloads is still a currency that we don't end up using internally a lot, because for us, since it's a content platform, what we really look at is the currency of watch time. And what we are seeing is a staggering 50 minutes of watch time every day per viewer. And for Woot Kids, in a short span of time, we are seeing close to 25-30 minutes of time spent.
Is it part of that 50 minutes or is it separate?
50 minutes is by the adults,
Huh?
and 25-30 minutes is on the kids content,
Okay.
on Voot Kids.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
And one of the really interesting features that we deployed, because since we are talking about kids content, and that needs to be regulated, that needs to be safeguarded, that needs to be monitored by the parents, is the feature called parental pin, where the parents could essentially put a pin/a password, which essentially allowed the kids only to watch the content on the Voot Kids section. And what we are seeing is that parents who have put the parental pin on the Voot app, on those set of users, we are seeing 3x the watch time as compared to the users who have not put the parental pin.
It's 3x of 25 minutes?
Yes. So that's the power of, look, the important thing is, from a kid's portfolio, is while the end consumer is actually a kid, but the phone is that of the parent. It's
Correct.
that of the father
Correct.
or the mother. That's point number one. And the parents obviously would like to regulate and monitor the kind of content that a kid is going to be watching.
Correct.
I'm a parent, right? I've got 2 6-year-old boys, and for me it's very, very imperative that they're seeing the right kind of content on a digital platform where
Correct. Got it.
there's a excess of all kinds of content which obviously is not age appropriate.
Correct. Vinod, you want to take us through Chuchu TV, and please share the numbers. I think the numbers are really,
Hi all.
his watch time numbers I think are fantastic for online. Yeah.
Hi all, I'm Vinod from Chuchu TV, founder and CEO. So Chuchu TV was started way back in 2013. I did this for the love I have for my daughter Harshita, who is also known as Chuchu. I still call her Chuchu. So the name came from her nickname. So I went ahead and did a video. I drew her, animated her, and she was very chubby. So I did this chubby cheeks nursery rhyme. And then when I uploaded it into YouTube in 2013, to our surprise, we got 3 lakh views in just 2 weeks.
Okay.
So they were huge players from US, UK at that time when we started, but still we got this traction. So I went to my partners. I'm a part of another software company which we have been doing for the past 15 years. So I went to them and said, guys, there's something in this. So why not we try one more video? So I did the second video, and that video got it was a Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in our own Chuchu TV style. That got even more views, and with just 2 videos we got 5,000 subscribers. That's when our YouTube guys from YouTube called us, and the partner manager, we were allotted a partner manager, and they said, you guys are doing something special with all these content creators already there. Your content is really good, so you are getting the traction. So that's it. We started with 2-3 artists and animators, and right now we are one of the biggest content creators in
You have 170
Asia.
people right now employed?
Yeah,
you
we have
told me?
170 people, and our couple of our channels have more than 9 million subscribers, and the overall views are more than close to 9 billion views. And we at the watch time, as he spoke about the watch time, I want to tell that we are getting close to 1.5 billion minutes of watch time every month in our channel alone.
Fantastic.
So that is so the kids are watching so much this kids content. And we recently also crossed a huge landmark wherein one of our videos, Johnny Johnny S Papa, crossed 1 billion views. It is the first ever video from India to reach 1 billion views in YouTube, and it is the 42nd video to reach this milestone ever in the history of YouTube. So we recently achieved that milestone. Yeah. Yes.
And the reason I was very keen on doing this panel is not because I have a kid, but if you look at the business itself, TV advertising in India is about 18,000 crore. Viewership of kids is about 6% or 7% of all TV viewership in India is kids. It's the same as news viewership. But kids is totally under-indexed when it comes to getting a proportionate share of revenues. Usually, share of revenues is proportionate to your viewership share. So news would get, let's say, 7% of advertising revenues, but kids get just about 4%, if I'm not mistaken.
It's actually lesser, 2-3%.
Yeah, 3%. And that's been a huge issue because advertisers completely underrate this category in terms of its power to keep viewers there. The second thing is kids' television is largely aimed at 5 to 9-year-old boys. There are various reasons for this. It's not a discrimination of any sort because girls move on to GCs faster. And as we know that when they grow older, women dominate the remote control. But, and below 4, Mark does not calculate audiences. So therefore, below 4, nobody bothers to offer content for 0 to 4-year-olds, so to say, because that audience is not measured, so it's not monetizable. One of the things why online is important is because the theory is that it could break these barriers and expand the market. Is that happening? What's happening on the monetization, on the getting, and it's all AWOD so far for both of you. So what's happening there?
You know, before even getting into the monetization piece, you spoke about, you know, the couple of things that's obviously plaguing our entire kids monetization aspect from a consumption point of view and the kind of content that's available on TV currently. On Boot, for example, what we see, or at least what we started off with, was that it's not enough for us to only cater to a kind of content which is about your mass Indian animations, which you also end up seeing on the Indian television. It's important to have a deeper segmentation strategy because the premise of digital is on demand, right? For kids, they don't understand this concept of only watching a piece of content at a given point in time, at a given place. For them, www is not World Wide Web, but it's whatever, whenever, wherever, right? I mean, they are, in a sense, the true digital natives, right? And when we built the entire Woot platform, at one end, we had, of course, the big mass Indian animation, your Chota Beans and Motu Patlus of the world. But we also ended up having content which was catering to the preschoolers, which you rightly mentioned, is not being targeted by, which is not even getting captured by Mark at this juncture. We had content like Peppa Pig, content especially catering to girls, right? Content on our on Woot, which is Dora, right, which specifically caters to the girl part. These are content pieces on our platform which continue to be in the top 10 most watched shows.
Are they getting new advertisers in?
So, look,
are you getting a different set of advertisers here than you could get on, let's say, Nick or a Nickelodeon or a Sonic?
No, of course.
Do you find...
Vanita,
is it expanding the market?
No, of course.
Question.
Look,
yeah.
You know, before we even start getting into the discussion of driving width and driving depth, we are a 7-month-old brand,
Correct.
right? So for us, the initial strategy was to start aggregating consumers, going out to the market, reaching out to the advertisers who were at the first even advertising on TV, and then looking at expanding the pie, expanding the bucket.
Correct.
Right? So these are very early days for us, but obviously there are multiple brands like Amazon Kindle, like Colgate, like Hershey's, etc., who have started advertising on our platform. And I think one of the big differentiation is the kind of conversations we have started having with them, which is, for example, since being a part of Viacom 18, right, is there a way on the back of our entire TV network franchise, on the back of our now Woot Kids platform, our consumer products business, which is the second biggest consumer products business in the country, is there a way that we can try and speak to the consumer from a end-to-end point of view, right? And not just look at things or mediums in isolation, but end-to-end. Right? So these discussions, these conversations,
early days,
yeah,
right?
these
But
conversations,
some conversations have
8
started.
months back wouldn't have happened.
Okay.
But now we have started having those discussions.
Vinod, what's your experience been like? Is it that 50% revenue share from YouTube which keeps you going, or is there brand integration happening? What's happening?
No, we have not done any brand integration because we are creating for toddlers.
Yeah.
And we have an internal policy,
Very good. I'm
not
so
to do
glad.
any brand promotion. So
Very important for kids content. Any of you are parents will appreciate this.
So ads we don't have control of, but even on which YouTube is constantly working on to target kids only ads for the such content. So that's the reason they have launched their YouTube Kids app last month here in India, and that has very less ads. Even if there are some ads, it's going to be targeted the kids. So that's something which happened to India recently. So otherwise, yes, it is the same 55-45 percentage revenue share on the advertisements. So it has been the case for.
But your content is across age and gender.
Yeah, it's like the main channel Chuchu TV songs targets 0 to 4, 4.5. Then we have another channel named Chuchu TV Surprise that targets up till 7. So now we have recently started a channel named Chuchu TV Story Time, wherein we are doing content, story type of content and some comedy shows. Then we have our own Chuchu TV Fun Zone thing, wherein we have first time tried 3D content. So all this was 2D till now. So we want to try and give, see, it's like the same content, same type of content, but in a different bucket, different style. Kids love everything. You need to find what they like and do it.
Correct.
One of the really interesting things that we see on our platform, the peak time of the day when the consumption increases. On TV, the natural thing to interpret is children come back from school. Afternoon is when we see one good peak, and the other big peak is happening around early evening, right? That's a very standard piece, 6 to 7:30, and this is exactly what we had in mind when we launched Woot. And you'll be surprised that the peak time on Woot Kids or for the kids consumption on the platform is actually 9 p.m., which is the same time when the peak happens for your GECs. And the reason is we are talking about single TV households in the country, right? 175 million TV households in the country, out of which 95% are single TV, right? Parents, when they are watching TV, is also is also the time when they let go of their phone for the kid to take over and start watching his or her favorite content. And it's such an amazing revelation. You could have never thought about it.
Anything on consumption patterns that you have noticed, Vinod, from your data? I mean, anything that jumps
consumption
out?
pattern for us, we are getting traffic from almost 75 countries.
Oh,
so the peak time differs, like US, UK, India.
But which are your top 3 countries?
US, India, UK, Philippines, Vietnam. So these
Philippines and Vietnam.
Philippines, we have a very huge following. Very, very huge following.
I mean, are you in all languages? Or,
if you go there, we are like, like the fans, will be like a god or something. You have so much of watch time, so much of subscribers.
But what explains it? I mean, what?
No idea. Maybe US is related to somewhere related to Philippines. Somewhere, since it's good in US, it also picked up in Philippines.
Till the time it's coming, don't stop. I mean, there's no point in asking any questions.
It's like.
This is the analyst question. Post facto analysis always. But anything on consumption patterns?
The other piece that we see is repeat viewing. Right?
That's a thing of television also.
So, from a platform point of view, look for the TV show content. One of the big things that we continue to analyze is the aging of episodes. Right?
Okay.
An episode which has come on TV and that also comes on Woot, after 7 days, 10 days, we see a remarkable decrease in the consumption because people are also watching content on the VOD player in sync with what's also happening on TV. Right? So the aging happens. For kids, it's not. Kids draw comfort, confidence and happiness from watching a piece of content around their favorite show, around their favorite characters.
Kids love routine. They love familiar, comfortable stuff.
Absolutely.
One of the things which Krishna Desai, who heads Cartoon Network, and Krishna Desai heads children's business at Turner, which has Cartoon Network and other channels. And he told me this, many years back he told me this. He says, when I commission a show, so they were the ones who started with the first indigenous character, Chota Bheem, and the trend now 50% of all programming, kids programming in India is local characters created locally. He says that the success of a show is not whether a kid likes it the first time, But does he like it the 10th time that he's watching it or the 20th time? Because kids, A, I think it's too expensive to do fresh programming in kids. And B, because kids love to watch things again and again. What have you found that on your
Yes, this repeat watching, that's the reason
consumption pattern?
this video has reached 1 billion views.
But how
So,
much original content do you create? How
Yeah,
much
mostly original, almost 50%. See, initially when we started this nursery rhymes thing, we used the traditional public domain thing. But when we moved on and got a lot of traction, we started to do all the original songs, including colors, numbers, shapes, good habits, good values, and all these stuff. So right now we are doing a lot of original content. And another good news which I want to announce here is we are now creating an exclusive series for YouTube and YouTube Kids for to promote early English language learning.
Okay.
So all our guys, it's going to be a 40 episode series. So the production has started already.
Speaking of English, I mean, is there anything on languages that you see? I see only Hindi, and I don't think English is a big.
Telugu is very good.
Telugu, Tamil, and Hindi. These are the three languages. But is that what online? I mean, what is the?
So look, currently, most of the content that at least we have on our platform is obviously limited to English and Hindi.
Barabar.
And that was pretty much the strategy that we were following for the year one. Year two, as we expand and drive deeper inroads into trying to increase our penetration and increase our consumption, obviously the plans are to get in as many languages as possible. And that has to be the case. Regionalization has to be a very, very key agenda, not just for kids, but also for, I mean, we are talking about kids over here. Let's first talk about adults. What kind of regional content is actually available currently in this country?
Very little.
Right?
Except for films, I don't think you see a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are
variety.
also we'll be shortly starting our regional channels. For
In
Tamil,
what languages are you looking at?
Tamil, Telugu, and Hindi. That's
Hindi
what we are going
to
to
start with.
Start with. Yeah.
The one more, since we're talking about some consumption
patterns.
trends, one of the other things that we see is, again, you would naturally believe that the phone on which the kid is watching most of his content would be that of the mother, right? We have close to 10 million odd registered user base, and hence we get some really rich insights and deeper analytics from the device, the gender, the networks, etc. There is more than 55-60% consumption of the kids' content is actually happening on the father's phone.
Okay.
On the father's
What
phone.
explains that?
So, couple of
Or we should analyze it.
Yeah, a couple of hypotheses. One is, I think in this country, unfortunately, still the best handsets, the best smartphones
My husband has a better handset than
are
me.
actually owned by the
True,
men.
That's true.
Right?
Actually.
They also,
Discrimination.
unfortunately, they also have the best data plans. Right?
Okay.
So it's an access issue. It's an availability issue that is obviously driving.
Unfortunately, not enough parents in this room. Otherwise, I would have told women gather up and have better handsets.
Yeah,
if you
one
want to
more
do
thing
better.
to add to his point.
Keep on telling my wife.
See, with regards to like mothers who are at home, they tend to be more strict with the kids. So father comes home, like immediately the child picks up the father's phone. So when he wants to spend time with his kids, to impress his kids, he gives his phone. So that is also one more thing.
Talk about yourself, Vinod.
Yeah, yes, I do that.
Okay, no, I ration my kids' time. So
Yeah, even
the
same here.
problem.
No, not more than 1 hour.
Because his school did his workshop with us, which scared us like hell. So now we ration his time strictly, on iPad and phone, etc.
Yeah, with the apps coming like YouTube Kids or Voot, I think they have these parental controls and stuff where you can restrict the time for a kid to watch content. So that is. And one more thing, trend which we are seeing is a huge viewership raise in TV because of the connected TVs. Because of the YouTube apps in the TVs. So most people say having a phone here, all said and done, is not so good.
Good for the eyes.
For the eyes. So people want to showcase the content in the TV.
So you
we see a huge rise on the TV viewership.
Oh really?
Yeah, from tomorrow.
Not because they're more mature than you in that sense. You're only 7
I'm just picking a thread on from what keeps on coming in every conversation whenever we are talking about kids and digital, which is the entire parental regulation. Is too much of screen time good for kids, and something that we also just been discussing briefly. My only 2 bits on this is the approach has to be about that we need to understand that these devices, the presence of multiple devices around us, they have fundamentally changed everybody, adults and children alike. But these are devices, these are tools, and they are neutral. What we do with them
is up to us.
What we demonstrate to our children and what we really allow our children to watch will actually finally determine the outcomes.
So
And that's
ultimately
a
the
very,
onus
very
is on the
important
parent.
piece to
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, absolutely. I get you completely. I now have to ask my wrap-up question. So keep your cards ready, because it stems from what Akash just said. Should time spent on content online or on TV by kids be controlled? Yes or no?
Yes.
I like this. People who are not parents also have an opinion on this. Great. So it's overwhelmingly yes. Okay. Thank you so much. And we need to give you your pictures as a memento. But thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much once again for an interesting session. Thank you, Ms. Vanita, as well.